So most of you have been telling me that make something relating to the PhD interview. So this video we are going to talk about three important questions which they are asking or they will ask you in an interview. So the first important question, like any other interview, is tell me about yourself. Now, while answering this question, keep it very strictly to your education and the media work or the research work which you have already done. Nobody wants to know what your parents are doing or any relatives or some big shot in your family. They want to know what you have done. So basically, your education background, from where did you get your education, what is your master's percentage. So all these things you have to tell them. And if you have qualified net as well as JRF, you have to also mention that. Even the SLET exam, you have to mention them. So keep it to yourself and basically tell them about your education, what are the media works which you have done till now. If you are a recent MA pass out and who is attending the interview, if you are an experienced faculty, you'll have a lot of background to talk about, where you have thought what kind of media experience you have and what kind of research experience you have. But if you are a fresher who is just passed out of the MA course and who is applying for PhD, make sure that you keep the entire dialogue on this issue on yourself itself. And this is a question which everyone will be facing in the interview. So remember that the first and foremost thing they ask you is tell me about yourself, and keep it strictly to yourself. And then moving on to the next question, basically once they are impressed or once you have answered the tell me about yourself question, the second thing which they ask you is basically tell me about your previous research work. Now I was sitting for a panel interview in the Pune University, and in front of me was Keval J Kumar, and this was the question which he has put to me. What are the previous research work? And I told them my research papers. I published 2 till then because I was very young in academics, and while attending the interview I had only 2 papers. So I told them about those papers, and while telling them I mentioned a brief kind of abstract kind of thing, and made sure that I knew what was those 2 papers about. Because what happens is that when you are talking about your previous research work, there are counter questions, like simply they might put what is the methodology which you have applied, and what are the key findings of your study, and make sure that at least you give one revision of whatever papers or presentations you have given in the past, because a counter question might come when you answer this question: what are the previous research works which you have done? So this is how the second thing you should face. Remember that at least one reading of at least the abstract of what the papers you have published, because many of you might have published more than 5 papers. Some come with 40, some come with more than 40, even 50 papers. But remember that remember that you should at least give a reading of your abstracts of whatever papers or presentations you have. And apart from that, the next question which they put is, what is your proposed research? Any interview panel will ask you this if you are going for a PhD interview. What is your proposed research for your PhD? Now this is your USP or your unique selling point. You have to give your topic to the panel, and that is where you have to explain right from the what the topic is. Then you have to tell them what your review is, what your methodology is, then apart from that, what is the research plan and the timeline of your research. Very important that you tell them the research plan and the timeline, how much time you are going to take to complete your entire research, and make sure that you are well prepared. Now in the panel also I was asked, tell me what are the reviews which you have seen on this topic, and I made sure that at least 3 to 4 reviews I had in my in the tips of my tongue, so that I knew that the questions will be on my proposal itself. So make sure that you thoroughly write your proposal and make sure that you memorize whatever you have written in the proposal. And so this is how there will be counter questions when you are talking about your research or your proposed research work for the PhD exam. So this is how you need to answer. Make sure that you have memorized whatever you have written in your application forms, because most of the time they will have the application form in the hand during the interview, and they'll ask questions on your application forms also, because I know few universities also ask you to write the research proposal as well online in their application forms. And so this helps them basically for the interviewer. It helps them to ask questions. So remember, you should memorize the application form, and apart from that you have to memorize your research proposal. Now things in the research proposals are a great help for them to ask questions. So these two aspects you should remember. And apart from that, another question which they will obviously put to you is that, are you willing to change your research topic? And obviously if you need the admissions, you have to see to it that you agree to whatever they say. So you just simply nod your head and say that, okay, I'm ready to change my topic. But make sure that you have answered these questions really well. These 3 questions they'll ask you anyhow in the interview. In Pune University also they asked me the same questions. In my hometown university, or the university right now I'm in, which is Usmania University, they also asked the same questions. And that's how the interviews are going to be conducted. Remember to prepare for these 3 questions. One is tell me about yourself, which is your academics performance as well as the media works which you have done. And the second question is, what are the previous research work you have done? And the third question is going to be, what is the proposed research for your PhD? So these 3 questions are really important, and that is what you have to keep in mind. Wherever you go, you will find these questions thrown at you. So guys, thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please share it with your friends, and do ask them to subscribe, because each subscription gives me motivation to produce more content. So guys, thank you for watching.